Life. I'm Dean Wilson. So glad you're with us. Wherever you're joining us from, we welcome you, whether you're goodlifetelevision.org from all around the world, or whether you're joining us on the airwaves here in Santa Barbara, on TV Santa Barbara. We welcome you. We're talking about the good stuff, and you'll see so many great guests at goodlifetelevision.org. Full form interviews are there, power clips are there, and you can also find us on all the social media platforms. People from all walks of life, entrepreneurs, overcomers, ministers, young people. It's been a fascinating journey we've been on, and uncovering these great stories. There's so much good stuff to talk about. So we welcome you, and I'm so excited about my guest today. Tyson Ramsdell is with me. Tyson, welcome.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. It's great to have you.
Good to be here.
Tyson's got a really interesting story which I want to get to, but start with kind of your background, kind of growing up, where you came from.
Yeah, I grew up in Washington State. I was part of a church up there for 32 years. Grew up there, mom, dad, sisters, we were all part of a church up there for 32 years, and born and raised in the church, loved the local church. And then about 4 years ago, God called me down to California to be part of a church here in Newbury Park, and so, yeah. A little bit of my journey there, yeah. So,
how did you find out about the church, or how did they find out about you?
So the church there, the senior pastor who was taking that church over, he's been a friend of mine. We went to Bible school together up in Washington, and he tried to get me down to California a few times, and it just never felt right. Never felt like the timing, the calling was there. But yeah, so 4 years ago, I was driving home from work. I had a city job I loved, and I'd been there for 18 years and benefits and everything, but I felt God say it's time to go, and so we made that move. Pastor Kevin, who's our senior pastor, said, "Hey, I'd love for you to come down here, be a part of it." A job wasn't promised at the time, but I just knew that God was calling me, and He provided every step of the way. So, me and my two boys and my wife, we made the move about four years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
So talk about that transition. You've made a transition from whatever you're doing before.
Yeah.
To vocational ministry, and
right.
And we'll talk about what you're doing. But how's the transition been?
It's a lot different. Going from construction and a 9 to 5, and doing that my whole life is all I knew. I always loved people and loved, like I said, loved the local church. But I was never had a full-time ministry job, and so the transition's been a lot different. Working in a church, it's a unique thing, and I love it. But I love people, and so there's been ups and downs, and it's been some hard times, but it's been good. My one son was a senior in high school, and the other one was a sophomore, and so to move them away, that was a tough transition.
Yeah,
it was a very tough transition, and but God's been so faithful all along the way, so it's been really good.
Wow,
I really love the opportunity to work at the church. It's been great.
Yeah, the church, it's such an interesting thing.
Yeah.
The good news is it's filled with people. The bad news is it's filled with people.
Exactly. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that presents challenges and such great opportunities.
Yep.
Talk to us about Hope Outreach, this food pantry. I know you watched your dad work and kind of doing this food pantry thing, and then you've gotten involved with this. But tell us about it.
So like I said, a little bit of that background on that is my dad always had a heart for people. And I remember being a young kid, 10, 11 years old, working the food pantry with him in Washington, going to the homeless shelter, passing out soup to people, and just he always had a heart for people, and God wired him that way. And so we moved down here, like I said, 4 years ago, and we joined with this operation at the time. It was called Hands and Feet, and it was a food pantry, something I always loved. And so we had the opportunity about a year and a half ago when COVID, actually how long is that now? That was 2020, I guess. So when COVID first hit, we had an opportunity to start serving some people in our community, and we had the opportunity to launch what we call Hope Outreach. It's a food pantry at Lighthouse Church in Newbury Park, and we took that over, and we started. At first, it was just a drive-through pantry. We would load families with groceries as they needed it, with all the things going on. And currently, right now, we've got it set up where they can actually come. They have a grocery cart. They shop it. We have all kinds of different foods we get from different organizations that we let them shop for what they need for the day. So it's pretty fun, and it's been in, like I said, it's been in my blood, my whole life, seeing my dad do it. And we moved down here in March 2018, and then April of 2018, my dad passed away. of a heart attack. And so I questioned God, why would I move down here, and a month later my dad passed away? And so it was a lot, but being able with this Hope Outreach to I think carry on some of his legacy, some things that he imparted in me to love the least of these, and to care for people. And how can you care for people without even knowing who they are, just care for them? So it's been really fun to do that with Hope Outreach. It's been fun.
And talk about what that's like for you and for the people who volunteer, and because I think it's such a powerful thing that happens to us, that happens to you, that I'm sure has happened to you as you do that.
Absolutely.
It's not, I mean, it is about what's happening with the folks you're serving, but it's also something that happens in you.
Absolutely.
Talk about that.
I think God's wired us all to care for people.
Yeah.
And it's how does that look? And so I think every single Friday night we do it. We do this food pantry, and we have about 50 individuals that come through that provide for around about 100 families. And then we have about 20 volunteers that come out every single Friday to be a part of this. And the stories that we hear week in and week out is from the people that come to serve, say thank you. This has opened my eyes. Thank you. This has changed me. And you see a lot of people that always want to serve on a Thanksgiving and a Christmas. Like those are the 2 times a year that hey, how do we serve? What's the opportunity? But we believe it's all year long. I mean, people need help all year long. And so when we sign up, we put a list out, a sign up every single Tuesday, and in a matter of 20 minutes, we have 20 to 30 people sign up to serve. They love to, and like you said, it changes them.
Yeah.
And they see the need. They realize that, wow, this person is just like my neighbor down the street that needs help. That's in a situation. Like we had a single mom come through the other day that she'd been laid off, has 2 boys, and she just said, we found out that you were in our neighborhood, and this is something we needed, and you don't know what you're doing for me. And then the stories of the people that she's met there, these people that come to serve have built relationships with these people now, and they see them outside of this food pantry, and they care for them, and how can we help you? What can we do for you? And so I see that, and like I said, God's uniquely gifted us to all care for people in some way, and I think it's just unlocking that and finding your purpose in that. And so that's what I believe Hope Outreach has kind of done for some people, is the opportunity to be able to serve.
If someone's watching this and they're in a church that doesn't do this, how would they start? Like, where do you get the food from? How does it work?
There's an organization called Food Share. Food Share of Ventura County is one way, and I always tell people, if you want to start, it's really simple, and I think it's just when you care for people, you give them food. You think about it, when you prepare dinner for someone and you have someone to your house, there's work that goes into it.
Yeah.
And you want it to be done well. And so, but that person that comes over, it shows, wow, this person cares for me. They invited me into their house. And so when we do it, we tell every time, it's not just about passing out groceries and getting this message out, but it's just caring for people. And so if someone's watching and they're saying, man, I'd love to get involved with this, there's different organizations. There's Food Share. There's Hunger for America. And then there's a couple other organizations, but if you just Google that, you can find it and say food banks, and you can say, how can I serve? And you can get one started at your church. And there's different organizations that you can actually, like we partner with Trader Joe's, Costco, Amazon Fresh, and these organizations will help you out. And so there's definitely, if you dig deep into it and say, hey, I want to be a part of this, you'll find it.
Yeah.
And so that's pretty fun to be able to do that. But it's just start with caring for people.
Yeah.
Is really what it is. When you say I want to care for people, it could start with, we've done it before back in Washington. We started by just making a bunch of sack lunches and passing them out to people.
Yeah.
There was no agenda, no hidden thing behind it, but we truly care for people.
I love it.
Yeah.
And we're all this close, this far away from needing that.
Yep.
We don't think we are, but we are.
And that's one thing we've learned is during the pandemic is a lot of people they were a paycheck away.
Yeah.
And when the layoffs came and
right.
And my dad, like he'd always say, is that but for the grace of God, that could be us, son. So
that's right.
Let's care for some people and love some people.
So it must be having an impact on your boys.
It is.
This kind of work.
It's pretty fun. My one son, my oldest, he's 21. He just moved back to Washington State, but he's helped with another church up there. When they lived down here, they would go, him and my other son, Desmond, that still lives down here, they would go pick up the food every Wednesday from the Food Share organization, bring it up there, and they come to our Thanksgiving outreaches. And I think it just shows people, like, everybody wants to be cared for and everybody wants to be known in some way.
Yeah.
I think it's easy to pass a dollar to someone on the street and say, okay, see you later. But when you take time out of your day, hey, how's your day? You know, some of these people that come through, you know, they live in a car, they don't have anybody to talk to. So it's fun to see that change in my boys. That, you know, before it was like, oh, I don't know, is this person homeless? What's this going to look like? But now it's, hey, how's your day?
Yeah.
How's things going? And so it's been pretty fun to see that. As a dad, I'm pretty proud.
That's beautiful. Didn't Jesus cook up like a fish for his friends on the seashore or something
Right,
one time?
exactly. Yeah.
It's about feeding people is a powerful thing.
Absolutely.
We all got to eat.
Absolutely. And when you do that for them, it shows you care for them.
That's awesome. Do you know how long it would take me to grow that beard that you have?
Would it be a while?
Decades.
Oh man, I've had this for, oh man, it's probably been 12 years now.
Has it really?
Yeah, I've been married for 22. As long as my wife keeps saying I can have it, I'm going to keep it. Until she tells me to get rid of it, then I'll get rid of it.
It's really a masterpiece.
It's a work in progress. Yeah. Yes, sir.
I like
yes,
it.
sir.
You've done comedy.
Yeah.
What is that all about?
I love making people laugh. I think that God's wired me that way too. I just love to make people laugh, and I think laughter breaks down walls. I remember being as a little kid, my mom always tells the story when I was in trouble. If I could get her to laugh, she wouldn't spank me, and so I would always try to do something, and I'd be like, okay, this is good. And so when I was like 18 years old, we were having this little comedy thing at church, and they're like, Tyson, you should do some stand-up, and I said no, and then I ended up doing it, and it was like, oh, that was fun. And then I had a gentleman that spoke into my life that had traveled around and done comedy, and he just said, you know, you have a unique gift to make people laugh, and I never really thought of it like that. So I started running with it, and I haven't done it in a while, but I'd started doing marriage conferences, youth conferences, and so it was pretty fun. And I'd go out there, and it was always clean comedy, and I'd always say I never want to do anything that if my kids were sitting in the audience they would be embarrassed by or ashamed of. So I just always kept it clean, and I've done a lot of church stuff, and so it's been pretty fun.
Wow.
Yeah.
How
I enjoy
fun.
it. Yeah.
What have you learned about marriage in 22 years?
22 years, what have I learned about marriage? Oh man. Always remember your anniversary day. Remember Valentine's Day, because I just screwed that up. But marriage in 22 years, I think patience is a big thing, and then open communication for me is open communication and be okay with being wrong. That was one thing I think in the younger years it was hard for me to understand, and I didn't want to be wrong. But I've learned over 22 years I don't know it all, and she'll still tell me that in a good way. But it's a, you know, that I don't have to know it all, but just the patience in a marriage, because when you bring two people together that have their own ways of thinking, their own thoughts and all that, it's you know, patience is a key. So
that's true, very true. What is your vision for ministry? What is, not that you have it all planned out, I know you don't, but what is your vision kind of looking as you look forward?
Okay, a couple things. I think with the Hope Outreach, one is to reach as many people as we can. I would love to see it grow into more than just a food pantry, but helping people the best we can and getting people rehabilitated with jobs. And we live in an area in Newbury Park there that it's a very wealthy area, and there's a few little areas that just, you know, people are just a paycheck to paycheck, and there's some homelessness in there, and it's how can we help these people get on their feet? How can we help them find a career, a job, get off the streets? And so with the Hope Outreach, that's my goal, is to see as many people that we can help rehabilitate and just show the love of Jesus day in and day out, and then bring people along beside, not what Tyson wants, but what God wants, and then bringing that to the people of just our area, not even just Lighthouse Church, but like if we could as a church, as a community, care for people greater, I mean, I think it makes such an impact. And then with ministry-wise, where I'm at right now, being this is the first in ministry I've ever been, I love where I'm at, but is to have people understand the love that Jesus has for them through Lighthouse Church, that God cares for them right where they're at, and then the life change. I love, that's what I think for me has been the biggest thing in ministry, is hearing stories of life change. Mm-hmm. and knowing that some people can walk through that door so broken on a Sunday and feel unknown, and when they leave there with a smile on their face, knowing that people care for them knowing that God cares for them. I love to see that. So if the next 20 years of my life, if I could see life change in people and people leave that place knowing that God's for them, I would love it.
That's great. Community is so important, isn't it?
It's so important. We believe, we say it all the time, you can't do life alone.
Yeah.
And people think they can, and they think they might have it all, but you got to have people around you. Community is so important.
Well, that seems like that's kind of the strategy of the bad guy. Isolate.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, isolate, because it's like they get picked off.
Right. That's so
know.
true. If I believe the enemy, if he can keep you in your shame, your guilt, the lies, and get you to isolate and not want to talk about it, not want to, like you said, he picked you off.
Yeah.
But if you get into community where you realize there's life, people care, God's a forgiving God, God's a loving God, God's a God of grace and mercy, life change can happen.
It's not boring when you're thinking about service, is it?
No.
I mean, when you think about serving people or the way you're thinking, life is a lot less boring.
Absolutely.
Which is interesting.
It is, and I think what's fun about it I don't do it all the time, and I try to, but look at ways every single day how I can serve someone. If it's opening a door, if it's a hi, a hello, it's almost like a fun game. It makes life more fun.
Yeah.
Than about not just all about me, but what can I do today? What does today look like that I can serve someone?
Yeah, it's fun. Yesterday I was at Starbucks, and for some reason I was sitting there, and I decided for a few minutes I was going to pray for every person who walked in the door. There's all kinds, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep.
But it was an interesting thing for me, you know, like to actually pray for, and it made it, the little time I had, I was killing some time there. It made it actually a lot more wonderful.
Right.
Because I wasn't thinking about myself or what I have to do, but I was actually thinking about this total stranger who, you know, and they come in, and it was really interesting. Side note.
No, I love that. I love that. And for me, like,
if you're ever bored in a Starbucks.
Bored in a Starbucks, but then the comedy side of me is I put a story together of what they're doing, where they're going, what's it all look like. I love people watching. I could go sit in an airport
really?
or a fair and just watch people watch. But that's great. You sit there and you see this thing, and you, okay, what
can I pray for this person?
What's going on in his life?
Yeah.
And we never know where people are at. So that's awesome.
Yeah, it was fun.
I'm gonna have to try that out.
Well, go for it. Yeah, it was interesting.
Yes.
This is wonderful, man. What a great guy! It's great to meet you. We'll be thinking of you, praying for you as you
so much.
Your family does this, and it's exciting work.
We appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time.
Good to meet you.
You too.
We'll see you next time.